friends, Markus Harvey here, 69 steps in front of the St. John River. Welcome to episode 10 of YATR. I am in front of the woodpile today, mainly because it's a little cool, it's a little breezy outside, but more importantly, we've got mosquitoes out there that if they can't get you the normal way, they'll kill a hummingbird, gut it, and get inside that and be all cute and come up and get you that way. So I'm inside in the relative safety, although you will see me probably swatting at a few mosquitoes today while we're in here filming because they still manage to get in. Today I'm going to skip the old whiskey tasting. I am drinking whiskey and I have already been into this Glenmorangie. It's a port cask finish, and just to give you a quick little heads up on it, it's much like that cockeyed hooker that used to be on Union Street here in Fredericton back about 20 years ago. It's a little thin, it's lacking in some character, but it's super cheap. And the mosquitoes are not allowed to drink any. So cheers. That's it for that. I've got notes today because I'm talking about politics and I'm talking about ignorance and I'm talking about entitled people. To give you a little background, to give you a little base for my point today, I'm going to talk about Quebec politics real quickly. Back in 1980, Quebec had a referendum to separate from Canada and become its own nation. It failed by 60-40. In 1995, 25 years later, it reared its, or 15 years later, sorry, it reared its ugly head again, and the vote was 51% to 49-ish, or almost 50-50. It was pretty close, but once again, they voted to opt in and stay. So Quebec is a very divided province on whether or not it still wants to be within Canada. It wants all of our, our roads and our healthcare and our education and our money, but half them want to be their own country and have their own way, and they act that way. Currently, provincially, they have a party called the CAQ. That's led by François Legault. He is of the mindset to keep Quebec in Canada and work on the things that provincial leaders should work on, healthcare, education, and getting the province back on track. Now, the federal leader for the Bloc Québécois, this man right here, his name is Yves-François Blanchet. Now, back in last year, we had a federal election, and during that time, the CBC had flown me up to Toronto a couple of times as an undecided voter to get my view, to throw my 2 cents worth in. And on the second time when I went up, it was to go up and watch the English language leaders debate and to have some commentary on that and thoughts. So during that debate, at one point, the leader of the Bloc Québécois was having a discussion with the leader of the NDP, who is Jagmeet Singh. He is a visible minority. He wears a headdress. He is a member of the Sikh religion. And he was talking to the leader about Bill 21, I believe it's called. And that's where Quebec brought in a bill where if you're working in the public service within the government, you can't wear any religious articles of clothing or whatnot. No daggers, no headdress, no hijabs, no crosses, things like that. So they were having this discussion about that, and Jagmeet Singh, obviously being of a visible minority and having experienced racism and having freedom of religion repressed at certain points in time, was challenging him on this bill, to which, let's take a look here, to which Yves-François Blanchet said, Quebec does not need to be told what to do or what not to do about its own values, nor its language, nor themselves as a nation. Okay, that was a WTF moment for me, because that crystallizes pretty much what 50% or more of the people of Quebec think. They think of themselves, and during this debate, Yves-François Blanchet referred to Quebec as a nation numerous times. They think to be better than, they think of themselves as an own nation, and that they don't have to abide by the rules unless it helps them constitutionally. So anyway, let's get on to my topic of the day. That was just the foundation to give you an idea of the mindset of some people in Quebec, half the population essentially. We had a setback in New Brunswick regarding COVID here a couple of weeks ago. But before we had that setback, back on, I believe it was on, let's take a look here, up in Zone 5 there, that's up on the border with Quebec, on May the 18th, there was about 400 to 500 people, mainly from the Quebec side, I believe, but a few from New Brunswick as well. They gathered on a bridge in Campbellton, which is in between the two provinces, to hold a protest because the New Brunswick border is closed. Quebec residents cannot come in, and that is for obvious reasons, because we want to have COVID-19 under control, and we've been doing very well, and we didn't want people from Quebec just milling around with us and bringing in more COVID until we get, until we're in a better place where we can open up the borders and start moving around a little bit better. So this was played up, this protest, as, we've got to be able to go back and forth because our families are there, and we're it's a lifeline for us. And if I can't get into Campbellton from Quebec, then I've got to travel a whole, 40, 50 minutes extra into my own province for stuff. I'll tell you this right now for free. I've been up there, I've been across that bridge, and you know what they've got across that bridge in Quebec? Across the bridge from Campbellton? They've got a grocery store, they've got a pharmacy, they've got cheap smokes and beer, they've got everything you need to handle a pandemic. The reason why they're having this protest is not a life and death situation. It is a problem of being inconvenienced because they can't get back and forth. Now, this is a bad idea. Opening up the border is a bad idea. That's why the border is closed. Now, let's take a look at this. All right, you see this? This is a map of Canada. Now, on this map of Canada, we have, more importantly, take a look here. There you go. Take a look where the arrow is pointing. In Quebec, there are over 51,000 confirmed cases of COVID-19. In all the rest of Canada combined, there is 39,800 and some. So what you're looking at there is Quebec, with that attitude and mindset and dynamic, has over twice as many COVID-19 confirmed cases than the entire rest of the country combined. And if you look at the deaths there as well, about 4,600 dead in Quebec, 2,600 plus dead in the rest of Canada. So 2,000 more deaths than the rest of Canada combined. So you can understand why the border is closed in New Brunswick and why anybody who would protest that to let people from Quebec come into New Brunswick is a bad idea. And it's all over inconvenience. Now, I'll tell you what, we're all in this together in New Brunswick. We were doing very well, and there's lots of other borders, well, not lots of others, there's a couple other borders that I'll mention. There's a border between New Brunswick and Nova Scotia. Tell you what, you don't think there's people down there that have family on either side and want to go back and forth, and there's things that are convenience? I collect whiskey. Do you know how much good whiskey, different whiskey that I can purchase in Nova Scotia that I can't get here in New Brunswick? There's a lot. But you know what? It's okay. I'll stay here to help try to control COVID-19 and not hold a protest on the New Brunswick-Nova Scotia border to get down and get some whiskey, to be inconvenienced because I can't get a new bottle. We also have another community in St. Stephen, which is on the border with Calais, Maine. They're even closer than Quebec and Campbellton. And they also have plenty of people work on either side. They have family on either side. They want to go across. Buying groceries and gas in the United States of America is way more convenient than it is in Canada, guaranteed. But are they holding protests down there? No, they're not holding protests down there because it is an inconvenience, but it's a necessary inconvenience to try to control the spread of this disease until we can find some mitigating medication to help with people who do get it, and potentially, hopefully, in the near future, a vaccine. Okay, let's take a look at this another thing here, because people get on me for ripping on the people in Campbellton and across the border in Quebec for having this protest. I called them morons, and I stand by that, because you are selfish, ignorant, entitled morons for wanting to do that. But my point was crystallized eloquently about some 9 days later when the New Brunswick government confirmed that a healthcare worker from Zone 5 up there in the Campbellton area lied about his intentions, traveled up to Quebec, and then came back and did not self-isolate for 14 days. At that point, when they made the announcement that doctor had been confirmed to have COVID-19 and had been in contact with 150, if not more, people in the hospital and long-term care homes. And as a result, Zone 5 up there in Campbellton was put back to orange level. I look it up. I don't know what that means. But subsequently, about a couple days later, the rest of New Brunswick, who was supposed to move up a level that following Friday, got held back for another full week just because of this one person. And that's my point. these people gathering on the bridge, they're like, well, why can't we just open up the border between our two communities? It'll all be good. What's the worst that could happen? Well, on the 27th of May, we found out what the worst could happen. A doctor, somebody who should know better, somebody who has taken an oath to do no harm, one guy went up to Quebec for a 24-hour period and came back with the angel of death into New Brunswick through that border, and claiming he was an essential worker to get up there, and he was up picking up his daughter. That's what he was doing. He wasn't up on medical business. So if that's not enough for you to keep the borders closed, enough of a reason, let's go forward here a little bit. Take a look here. On May the 31st, the New Brunswick government holds an emergency press conference. It was on a Sunday, this past Sunday, to report 3 new cases in an old age home, a long-term care facility in Zone 5. So this one person went across to Quebec, came back, and now there's 3 more people. So this is Sunday, May 31st. They announced 3 more people in an old age long-term care home. And we all know what that means. We've seen what's happened in Nova Scotia, Quebec, Ontario when this disease, this virus gets into an old age home. It's deadly. But even worse, on top of all of this, the New Brunswick government held this press conference that it's into this long-term care home. And that same day in Edmundston, once again up there in Zone 5 area, 50 plus people held another protest and march about opening up the borders again. While the angel of death is walking through an old age home in your own area, they're holding another march to open the border. Like, I can't, and this goes back to my start of the whole thing, that whole, you don't tell us what to do, we're our own nation, we'll go by our own rules. This is what happens. And these people, these selfish, ignorant, entitled, spoiled people, because they're slightly inconvenienced, are putting people's lives at risk. Now, folks, stop and take a drink here. I understand it's an inconvenience. I'm here too in New Brunswick. Like I said, the folks on the borders, PEI, Nova Scotia, Maine, they're inconvenienced. But we were doing so well, and we're in this together. We are in this together as New Brunswickers. We're not in this together as Quebecers. We're not in this together as people who live in the fictional world of Acadie. We're in this as New Brunswickers. We're in this together as Canadians. It's a struggle, I know. It's weighing on everyone, and it's driving some people crazy, and that's bound to happen. But think before you do these things, especially you folks in Edmundston. The Premier comes on and does a special news press conference about this getting into an old age home, and we know what that means, and you still hold a rally saying we need to open up the borders to the most infected province in the entire country by double plus 11,000. It's nuts. So please, people, breathe. Try not to be angry. Let's keep the borders closed. Let's get this a little bit under control, even if it's just for another month. And before all of you armchair warriors start typing and cursing at me about what happened yesterday here in the province, let me address that as well. There was a Black Lives Matter protests, or I wouldn't say protests. They were gatherings throughout New Brunswick. I'll speak to the one in Fredericton, which happened yesterday, because a lot of people already are going on about how, well, they didn't self-isolate and they aren't staying 6 feet apart. Why are they gathering together? Don't they care? Make no mistake, there is a huge difference. 500 people gathering on a bridge from two provinces, one of them being the most infected in the country, protesting because they can't go across the border for a point of convenience, is a whole lot different than people gathering together in their own zone, in a zone which has a total of 50 people, I think, or less, confirmed COVID-19 cases. Now, should they have gathered? that close together? Absolutely not. But what I'm saying is it's apples to oranges here. It was a gathering, but it was a gathering amongst your own people in your own zone in a very lightly infected area. And it wasn't a protest, or it wasn't a gathering to protest inconvenience. It was a gathering to bring light to the racial discrimination across America's got the spotlight on it now, but don't be fooled, it's in Canada as well. A fellow was killed down there in Minneapolis, in Minnesota, and it kind of sparked this thing. But before you comment below calling me hypocritical for picking on the people in Campbellton and Edmundston for their protest, instead of chirping me or commenting below about that, I would ask you to maybe get a hold of a friend of yours, direct message them or private message someone that you know that's in a visible minority, a black person or a person in a visible minority, natives even as well would count in this, and ask them what their thoughts on the Black Lives Matter gatherings were yesterday. Because you can't take it from me. I'm a blue-eyed white guy with a shaved head and a lot of tattoos. I have no right whatsoever to speak to the matter. That's why I'm saying don't chirp me. I defer you to speak to somebody who lives it every day, and to people that have lived it for hundreds of years. It's not about the gathering and the COVID-19 in that case. It's a gathering to address the discrimination and the racism that's rampant and is also underlying in a lot of areas in North America. So that's it. That's all I've got today. I'm not going to carry on any further. I'm going to continue to drink my whiskey. That was just my beef today. Stick together, people. Keep the borders closed. Let's get this thing back under control again. Let's open up. Let's get our economy going in New Brunswick. And then we'll work our way. We'll get it open. You'll be able to get through back and forth to Quebec and the other provinces eventually, but we need to get ourselves under control first. We need to get some medication that'll mitigate the symptoms of COVID-19 and work our way towards, a cure for this before we go too nuts. Cheers. Once again, leave comments below, like, subscribe. Hope you enjoyed this podcast or this video cast or whatever you call it. And we'll see you next time.